what I want to do in this video is to talk you through how I would approach a scene in terms of where I start to draw and how I progress the drawing. Now, I'm not actually doing a drawing, I'm just doing a diagram, which is why I'm going to use a ballpoint pen, because I never draw with ballpoint pen. So it's to stop me slipping into I'm drawing a picture mode and start to get bogged down in the detail, okay? Because I want to keep it as brief as I can. And there's, in my mind, a really obvious place to start with this corner. I like to start with corners because you don't have to have worked out where the whole shape's going, just where that corner starts. And again, I'm looking at, okay, it's on the bit on the left-hand side, it's a bit above halfway. And so, you know, I'm gonna start here. And so I just give myself an indication of that corner, and I pay attention to that perspective line at the top. But I'm drawing these lines shorter than they'll be, because I don't want to take too many lines, if I can help it, to where I don't want lines to be. Now, the important thing is to position this window correctly, and it's always a bit slower with this sort of thing at the start, because you have to kind of establish things carefully, but once you've done that, it's easier as you progress. So I'm looking at that kind of narrow gap there, and then there's another window with quite a big gap here. It's a longer window than the top one, so I'm looking at those proportions. So I'm looking at the proportions of these windows, and then there's a bit underneath it, and then I get this, and this is getting closer to being horizontal. Now, there's slightly more on this side for where this wall finishes, and that also then gives me this line confidently. I can go a number of directions at this point, but I'm not going to come down just yet because I haven't got enough structure to come down. What I'm going to do is, so this starts underneath, is I can position where this floor is because of that window, and so it's going to be sort of there. And now I can see that there's a well, that's where the wall's going to be. So there's a shutter here, and then there's a window there, and there's another shutter there, and then there's a gap. And that then gives me this wall. So now I can confidently put that wall in place, and I can draw all the windows going up, and I can measure them off according to what I've drawn on this side. So I can see here that where that is, that this window is sort of under there, and so this window fits in there. And so I reference across as I go up. And the other thing at this point on this side that I give some thought to is just these perspective lines, because they're very important. So that's the lowest perspective line. And if I come up to kind of level with where the roof's going to be, I can see that I mean, strike, look how steep that perspective line is. And even higher as you go further up. Okay, so I give some thought to that. Now, we might go across the building here. So pop in that line. And need to get that perspective line correct. I was a bit clumsy there. Now, this wall is shorter, this is closer. So again, I'm just positioning these first things. Now there is a sign here, a hotel sign. So I need to just preserve space for that, and then I can position that window, and then yeah, a bit more than that distance to this side. There's a downpipe, and then there's another downpipe, and that gives me the corner of this. Yep. And that's a wedge-shaped roof in there. And that then gives me the corner of this building. So it's coming together nicely, and then I can start to work on the detail once I've got these parts in place. This chimney comes down kind of about there. And then that goes to there. And then it comes out, and then got a downpipe there, and then there's a big downpipe right next to it, which is the end of that building, and that creates that space that we see there. So just need to push that up. I would go up with this side first, because that then gives me place of measuring off the other side. So coming down, it's a bit messy coming down, which can make it a bit harder. So I've actually taken these lines down a bit much, but so this ground floor line does come out further than the rest, and they're the little things that it is good to pick up. And I'm really wanting to create this space here, because that's how I know how big to draw the van, is by creating the space between the van and the buildings. And then we have another vehicle here, and the important thing is not to think cars. I'm not trying to draw cars, I'm trying to draw these shapes. And if I try and draw these shapes, I'll finish up with a much nicer looking car. And then here, I mean, I find cars very difficult to do, because I'm not a great car. So that lets us come down, and then we can see that kind of where this car's going to come into there. That kind of gives us our street line. We get that done, and we can draw the shop front in here, and then we can place our people. Pushing their strollers. And get a sense of scale by doing that, and then do the same thing on this side as that side. Okay, so that's how I would think. This is how I would draw this scene, how I would start and how I would progress it. Choose if you like, find the safe place to start and then progress from there. Hi, I'm Stephen Travers. Look, I hope that was helpful. It shows you how I think when I see a subject such as that Paris street scene and have to work out, where will I start? And if I was sketching that from life as opposed to from a photo, I would do it much the same way. I would leave the ground level, which is constantly changing, until the end, when I've got more secure elements around it. I just can't progress the buildings down to ground level, obviously, but otherwise that's the same way I would go. I start with try and find a safe area, and then from that move out, keeping things in proportion, in alignment, and hopefully progressing the drawing in all directions accurately. Anyway, in the end, whatever works for you is the best way for you, and whatever way you're using to start and progress your drawings, have fun. See you next time. Bye.